Hello, and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Morno Balagbogo. We've got quite a packed show for you. If you've been following our programming earlier today, we focused on the AU Summit in Ethiopia, and today we'll try to expand our conversation and look further into what played out over the weekend. Let's give you a rundown of our talking points. We'll look at the push for reparatory justice and racial healing. We'll also talk about new leadership resolving tensions in DRC, Sudan, and USAID exit tackling health emergencies. And our guest today, I must say a very big thank you to him, Ambassador Austin Asage. Thank you so much for being with us. In a short notice, you came to bail us. We're supposed to have Dr. Eze. He was actually in Addis Ababa, and he came back on Sunday, but couldn't be with us. Well, Ambassador Austin, thank you so much for filling in. All right, we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll just break down the conversation and take it up from there. To stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. In the continuing pursuit of justice and equity, the conversation about reparation has emerged as a critical and transformative dialogue that requires the collective attention and action of Africans and all people of African descent. The scope of this conversation goes beyond historical injustice into the current fabric of societies around the world. The just concluded AU Summit in Ethiopia focused on reparatory justice and racial healing under the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent. Now, the big question is, did the Assembly of Heads of State and Government do well enough in their bid to consider and make far-reaching decisions on various serious political and socio-economic areas, which is supposed to promote and advance the welfare and the quality of life for every African citizen? Now, let's have a look at some of the agenda at the summit over the weekend. There's some key things that the AU said in a press release that was supposed to be the key focus. First, they talked about institutional reforms of the African Union, state of peace and security in Africa, and activities of Peace and Security Council, participation of the African Union at the G20 governance and also governance issues, including position at the United Nations Security Council, climate change, situation in Palestine, elections and appointments, African Continental Free Trade Area Council, and then Africa CDC and public health emergencies on the continent. Also, South Africa's G20 presidency. So in case you want to know all that played out at that summit, those were some of the major key points in terms of agenda. Now, in one of the agenda which relates to election, the AU members elected Djibouti Foreign Minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf as the next chair of the African Union in a secret ballot, and he replaces Moussa Faki Mahamat of Chad, who served at 2 terms AU Commissioner. Now, Yusuf, who has been Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Djibouti since 2005, is the longest-serving foreign minister on the continent. The election of the new chief comes as the conflict in Africa's second-largest country, the Democratic Republic of Congo, escalates following recent territorial gains by the M23 rebels. Now, another question still remains that, will Yusuf be able to tackle some of the crises in the continent? Now, let's start with Congo, for example. The M23 forces approached the second biggest city in eastern DRC, Bukavu, 2 weeks after seizing the main city of Goma. The DRC accuses Rwanda of backing the rebels, although Rwanda denies supporting M23. Also recall, he called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire and cessation of hostilities and the reopening of main supply routes and the Goma airport. Then also you look at the civil war in Sudan, which has been plaguing much of the continent for almost 2 years, with the Sudanese government pitted against the paramilitary rapid support forces. This is another conflict that he'll be taxed with tackling. Now, in the meantime, at the conference, Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, weighed in on the ongoing conflict in Congo, and this is what he had to say.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congolese people have been suffering yet again from a brutal cycle of violence. And the fighting that is raging in South Kivu as a result of the continuation of the M23 offensive threatens to push the entire region over the precipice. Regional escalation must be avoided at all costs. There is no military solution. The deadlock must end, the dialogue must begin, and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the DRC must be respected.
Now, he went on to say, and I quote, just to read some of the things that he said. He said, "I will keep working with the African Union and all member states to ensure the representation of Africa's needs and the justice that you deserve, including 2 permanent members of the UN Security Council." And he says, "We will keep pressing together for an international financial architecture that is no longer outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair. Correcting age-old injustices is essential to address here and now challenges." Now, there's quite a lot to unpack. We'll do that with our guests. But away from that, some of the major conflicts in the continent at this time comes amidst Trump's decision to suspend U.S. foreign aid, and could actually, most definitely, likely impact or disrupt essential health, education, and humanitarian programs efforts across Africa. We're looking at programs for HIV/AIDS, Ebola, tuberculosis, malaria, maternal and child health care, and even food security impacted in countries like Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, Ethiopia. And I mean, the list just goes on. And in the midst of this, on Friday, Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, called for sustainable health financing mechanisms that ensures efficient resources mobilization and utilization to strengthen Africa's health system. And she said this in Addis Ababa, and she stressed that Africa's economic growth and social stability hinges on a robust healthcare system that guarantees access to essential medical services for millions across the continent. Now, the big question that will lead into this conversation is, will the current leadership of Africa rise up to this task? The DG of the World Trade Organization, our very own Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has also asked the African leaders to look inward for funding opportunities for the continent. Was that part of the conversation? We'll break it down. Now, just to read a few things she said. She said, access to aid, I think we can begin to think of it as a thing of the past. And the former Nigerian minister said this in Addis Ababa. And according to the World Bank, Africa really needs to change its mindset. You can see what she said there, and see opportunities with the seeming challenge and the effect of the pause of billions of dollars in global funding for the United States health and education projects in the countries of the world. And she says that African leaders must attract investment and mobilize these resources to survive contemporary social economic realities that comes with the policies of Donald Trump presidency. Our guest is with us now, so let's just go straight to the conversation. Ambassador Austin, thank you so much for being with us. Quite interesting. First, let's start. What is Guterres doing at the African Summit?
And what
is his justification for being there?
Well, we can't say that on this program because he might be invited. It might be a special invite for him, because if you look at it, previously he has not been there. So him coming there might be invited. I'm not sure. He holds a very strong position in the world, has been the UN Secretary General. So that one is coming there, I'm sure. Is basically on invitation, so you can.
Let's look at the part of the African leaders. Why did they feel that there was a need for Guterres to be in that continent?
If you look at it, because I want us to look at it holistically, not for me. If you look at the statement he made, probably they might want him to come, as in they are talking about the seat, 2 seats for
at the UN Security Council.
So probably might be part of the reason why he was invited, so probably to ginger them. I don't know. The organizer know the reason why they invite. But to me, the real challenge is not even him coming there. is for we, the African, that, okay, are we actually serious for making progress? Because if you look at it today, if you ask me, I don't see anything change. After this summit, what next?
I mean, before we even begin to break down the so-called theme for this year, last year the focus was on education. And, you know, for analysts like yourself, and also for I myself as a journalist, looking at the numerous challenges we have in the continent, did you think that at that cadre of leadership, like that is the coming together of African leaders, should that be the focus of the AU education? And then we come to this year, we're talking about reparations. And from the theme, you could probably see why the UN had to come. So to justify the fact that we actually need reparations. Is this timely to have this kind of conversation?
That's what we are saying. Let's look at the last year talking point, education. The question you ask is that did they actually achieve anything last year? The answer is no. This, you know, it has been it has been a kind of African way of doing things, not only peculiar to Nigeria. I want to see it from my own school of thought and probably my research and all that. It has been a just normal African way of probably going to conferences, organizing conferences, and at the end of the day, nothing is coming out there.
So it's for you, it's just all about wasting taxpayers' money.
If you want to assess it, last year did they actually did nothing on on African?
Yeah,
have you been seeing anything that is okay? This was achieved, but if it to come to, they will always want to have a program. Last year was in. This year was in Addis Ababa.
Yes,
I think last year was in Rwanda. I think it should be Rwanda. I don't know. I think Rwanda. So look at it. Next year might be Nigeria. So that is how it's just for them to, because the real issues in Africa, and I'm sure he's going to be telling on them this year, is that it's not only to secure a security seat. It's not, because Africa is getting...
Because from what you're saying, it seems to me that that's like the major aim for having...
Yes, that is the major aim. Because, you know, everybody, you push at the international, at the global level, you push your agenda, the continent agenda. But look at it today. Other continents, Asia and all that, you can't be seeing them discussing about this.
But even talking about the UN Security Council, even at the AU, we also have a Security Council within the AU. Is that one not enough to handle the crisis within the region? I understand the need to want to be part of the global affairs, but in this Trump era that we're living in, I mean, you check the news, you see EU looking for ways to fight Donald Trump. How come African leaders are not having this conversation?
We have not even got to that level. The EU is not on the aid list. We are on the aid list. You see, when you are saying the EU, you are saying the EU. EU is, European Union is these are countries that produce things. And African, we hardly see African produce. We only consume what those guys are. So, okay, did you see India or China are discussing about security to have a city? Automatic. But we, because of our own backwardness and our lack of thinking properly in Africa, that is what leads us. Because this is not supposed to be the conversation we should be having here now. Nigerians the Africans supposed to have been more than that. But we have another problem in Africa, which political problem in the African Union, is that, look at it, we have two blocks. The blocks of French and the English. It has always been a challenge. I get me. So you have to put that politics in perspective to discussion that, okay, we are not like EU to have their challenge, but I think they have overcome their challenge over time.
In terms of the internal divisions?
Yes, they have internal divisions too, even the Asians and America and all that. But their level of thinking now, we can't even be discussing about EU or Asia and all that. They are focusing on technology. They are focusing on what is the latest things to do. And that should be the discussion in Africa. Because I think before you can go outside to seek for help, how have you helped yourself? Today they are calling on that is not to me.
Do you think Donald Trump is ready to have a conversation for reparations?
If you are Donald Trump, will you have you will see these kind of guys that they are not serious. And if you look at them truly, are they serious? They are not serious. Most of these presidents are are there for many years. You know, when you want to see a country that is serious, you know that it's a country that probably, because you are discussing with Trump that democratically their country is, they have advanced in terms of democracy and all that. But we are talking about the African country, but most of those presidents, they don't want to leave. Who will listen to you? If I'm Donald Trump, I will not listen to them. Because I've seen a president that you came in democratically and you refuse to leave that seat. Some of them are there 10 years, 20, 15, 30, 40 years. They are sitting on that seat. So why will I take you serious? Are you getting me now? And that is why you see that they cannot solve that problem. Look at all of them. I think we have 46 countries in Africa. Out of that 46 countries in Africa, look at them. How old is their president? Look at them. How long have they been there? I'm talking about, let me pick Cameroon. Cameroon that the president cannot even recognize somebody. And I'm sure somebody in that AU, somebody is representing him there. He's a president that cannot even discuss anything. He can't even recognize people. He has been there for over 40 years, since 1982. And he refused to leave until he died. Probably be preparing his son to take over. Look at Benin Republic here. So we have problem whereby one man is there. Nobody take you serious at the international or at the global level. That is just my view. Because if I'm Trump, I won't take you serious. You have been there for 40 years, you have been there for 35 years, some have been there for 20-something years. Some are just even coming, but they refuse to leave. We are talking like this today. Look at the country that the military just seized power 2 years ago. These guys are refusing to leave. Those they host from that's the same way they came. They came through military coup and they took over. Probably they start wearing democratic garments. And when they got it, they refused to leave. These are guys that they came in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. When they came, they are going to 2 years now. When they came in and said, no, we are not taking nonsense. We are in Mali, said in 6 months, they are going to put 6 months going to 2 years now. He will be there in the next 30 years if he did not die. So who will take you serious? Now they are trying to form alliance that will not last, to me. Because I'm expecting as a young, because all of them I see 40-something years. Young guys that, okay, within 2 years, let's see. It's not only by removing yourself from ECOWAS, removing yourself from AU that is the challenge. What have they been able to achieve since they left? So they are coming now in the next 10-15 years. These guys will still be a president of those countries until they die. What they are trying to do now is to stabilize themselves and probably try to fortify themselves within their blocks and see that is not the way to make progress. So to me, no serious nation outside Africa will take us serious. Do you imagine that Nigerians, I'm saying Nigeria, they are taking EU issue to Europe to go and have a summit there. What's happened is that it's because they are bashed on them now. People are criticizing them. Before now, you go and see, you are doing the African Union Summit in Dubai. They are going to a country whereby they can just be in the hotel there and swimming pool and just swim. The old men there will be, somebody will be playing them. You know, we are not serious.
But why is it difficult for African leaders to really have intellectual conversations and move past just, I think, what one of my colleagues on the morning show called it playing to the gallery?
The reason is this, I've said it before, that the crops of leaders we have there are not leaders that are thinking above board. I just said it now. These are most of the leaders are my grandfathers. That it's just like me challenging my father now. How many people can challenge those presidents? You know, we're having a president today now. As we're having a young president, articulated president that probably you know that this. I will just give the example of Melema in South Africa. Imagine we have these crops of leaders in Nigeria, in those countries that are even a little bit big country in Africa. We have them as a leader, and all these guys are sitting together and taking a decision. Imagine we have a president in Nigeria that is 40-something years old. We have in South Africa, or let's say 50-something years old. We have probably in South Africa, we have in Angola. Look at the man in Rwanda. He has been there. In Rwanda, you don't use that. You don't tweet. You don't do a lot of things. Do you know when Kagame have come there? since early 2000, I think 2000, 2001, that he become a president in that country. 25 years now. Who will take you serious? So these guys are just discussing within themselves. So they are not discussing the African interest.
Now, apart from the age factor that you mentioned, do you still feel that there is still a post-colonialism influence from some of these bigger countries on African leaders?
It's not that is not really the challenge, because if you look at it now, we are getting like we have been colonized by British. That has left us for a long time.
Are you sure that has left us?
It has left us. You know why it has left us? Until we have a lead. Before now, as I was just saying, I don't want to sound like I'm supporting the government of the day. Before now, there are a lot of things that people are just taking for granted. Right now, we're having a leader that, and subsequently, I believe we're still going to have a leader whereby we understand the interests of the politics. Because it's not only you to wear suits or wear babariga and just go and be sitting and just be, what is the need of your country? So, like in Nigeria, I will not believe that there's we don't have any, the influence we have is just that we are able to know what we actually need now. For instance, now, we are still in the level whereby we don't even actually know what we need. Why do I say that? Is that we are still, many African countries are depending on aid from those foreign countries. And somebody that is giving you aid, and he has using that aid to weaponize you, probably to weaken you. So until he release that, you still have to be at his mercy. So whatever you need to say against him, you'll be afraid and all that. I'm even happy that Trump is stopping all those kind of words. And imagine now, they say they are stopping it. The revelations are not coming.
Talking about the revelations, I wanted you to quickly react to that issue of USA aid being used to fund terrorism in the country.
Even before now, by like 3, 4, 5 years, different analysts have been saying this. What is the aim? What is the mission of this country, of this agency under USAID? I've worked with an NGO before now, and sometimes I do tell people that they have more data. Some of those foreign countries have more data about Nigerian than what Nigerians have within their to themselves. Most of those agencies, UN agency, European Union and all that, they have data of what is actually happening in Nigeria than what we have here. So we have a problem whereby what we are focusing on now is just that, okay, because you ask me that today in Borno, in Yobe, and Adamawa, these 3 states, whereby insurgency have been ravaging this for 15 good years. Nigeria does not even know what is happening there. And we just have Boko Haram have attacked there, they have bombed there, they have been military have repelled them, military have fired back, all those. What is the issue? Until like 3, 4 years ago, some people are now coming, different view, analysts and people that have been staying there that say, no, probably there's a resources or there's something that these guys are getting. Until the chief of defense staff now came up and said, within their own 1 year plus now, they came on board. They have discovered that their foreign machinery, their foreign interference on this their mission. Because with their own intelligence and strategy, by now they're supposed to have eliminated this. That was why they are not saying, okay, they are going to be profiling some of the NGO that is going there, because they don't know why they are going there. They don't know what is happening there. NGO will say, okay, they are going on pass to a community. The military will be attached there. When they get to the road, they'll tell the military to wait, please, let's just see how we can. Probably the villagers doesn't want to see military in the uniform. Military will now wait somewhere. They will not go and come back. Probably there's a problem. Until the Republican lawmaker now came and said, this is their mission. He didn't say only Boko Haram. He said Al-Qaeda and some other terrorists, other powerful terrorists, not only in Nigeria, but across globe. But Nigeria, we are feeling the heat because we and Nigeria Republic are feeling the heat because this has really caused a lot. And look at it. They are not even weaponizing because it has become, they go to where people are very extremely poor and probably try to entice them with some other resources. not only money and some other, and this, because you'll be surprised that even in Zamfara, his last regime, because when Jonathan was there was nothing like bandit or cattle rustling. They came in through this kind of cattle rustling. Before you know, those guys start holding AK-47. These are the guys that they have not seen any weapon before. Before you know, they start seeing weapon and all that. And most of them that they were caught or they were killed, they met them with AK-47. Who is giving them the AK-47? And how many of them can afford AK-47? And even look at the ammunition they are seeing. So those are the challenge. But to me, all still bound to, we have a leadership in Africa that they are not thinking outside the box. Rather, they are just thinking about how to buy more cars, how to buy more lands, how to build more houses. And that is why you see that we are not making any progress. Until we leave that mindset of I want to have everything because I had opportunity to come to power, to my family or my unborn children that they will later come and sell all those cars. What Nigerians are using today to boast is that when you go to their house, you go to their compound, you see fleet of cars packed there, billions of naira car. They will feel like, hey, when you are driving only one car, this same person that has fleet of car, go to his village, there's no school, there's no hospital, you can build it. So we have a corrupt country, we have a corrupt continent whereby almost all the leaders are corrupt.
So given the present state of the African Union, do you think it's high time for countries to begin to leave the Union? Because there seems to be no clear focus in terms of vision of what can be done for Africa.
And it's not even by leave, because whether you like it or not, still need a united body.
But is this united body that is not solving the problem?
That's what I'm saying. If I'm a leader of Nigeria now, as well I'm the president of Nigeria today, and I see that there's no clear focus in that, I won't, by leaving the place, but I'll focus on my people, and I think that's why many of them are doing. That is why you see that probably the Niger, Mali, and Chad, and Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso now, I say no, we are not part of you for now. We want to take our time to probably see what we can do for ourselves and for our people, and that's how Nigerians should be taking. So it's not completely leaving the blocks or the union, but you can focus on your, like all those places that presidents are going, you can send your minister there and tell them you want to focus on. If you don't even need to tell them, your statement alone shows that you actually know what you are doing. Your statement, your body language you show. By the time you go, you're having a summit or a conference and all that, and you send your minister of foreign affairs probably to represent you as a president. He should be the one to be wearing the suit there, not even you compare yourself.
Now, amongst these African leaders, which of them do you think even have a slight chance of having a grasp of what the current situation is in the continent and the path forward towards having an Africa that is united in actually solving our problems rather than depending on foreign interventions?
To me, that's what I'm saying. The African politics, I've studied it over time. It's very dynamic. It's very complex. It's not like the way we look at it and all that. You can't say, okay, we are the biggest country in Africa now. Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa in terms of population and even strength, military strength and all that. But the challenge we have today is that, is our leader ready to articulate that? And if we are going to articulate that, you start from your home. Are you getting me now? You have to ensure that if you are preaching security now, your people are secure. If you are preaching education, your people are educated. If you are preaching food sufficiency, there's enough food. So these are how I look at it.
Yeah. I'm
not looking at, because if you look at it, as I said, Africa is a very complex country whereby you can't actually focus on, because we have French speaking, we have English speaking, but whoever that is going to lead this, I'm picking Nigeria as an example now, whatever you are going to be preaching at the union level, your home, are you okay? If you are talking about security, is your country secured? Almost all the country today, you see that South Africa, Rwanda, there's a problem. India, Congo, there's a problem. Like those countries that are a little bit populated. And the smaller ones too are struggling to probably put themselves. If you look at it today, Ghana have a food crisis. Ghana today, to buy a loaf of bread, you know how much they are buying it and all that. So I think the main talking point in our discussion today should be like, those African leaders should go back and sit back and look at what is their actual need. and look and borrow leaf from other continents. What is the focus of Asia today? And battling technology to see how they can compete with the world power. Today, there's nothing they produce in America that China cannot produce. There's nothing they produce in America that Japan cannot produce. There's nothing they produce. So if you are looking at hospitality, Dubai is there, in Asia, Dubai is there, Qatar is there. These guys are developing every day. When Qatar hosts a football tournament in the world, look at what within. These are people that they don't just build a stadium and wasting money like Africa. They just build a temporary stadium. After that, they dismantle everything. They even send those things back to Africa to show how suffering you are. So to me, our focus should be what can we do different to benefit their citizens. Those are talking about the African Union now. Their focus should be how would they stabilize Africa. Look at the unnecessary killing that is going on in DR Congo. They are accusing Rwanda of probably supporting the M23. Rwanda is saying, no, you are killing your people for nothing. Yeah, Israel today is thinking of how to build drone that can come and attack you wherever you are sitting today. They are getting it right. They are testing it now. America is thinking of how to go to space and probably look at the other things. Some countries in Europe are thinking of how do we ensure that our people are living better. African, we are thinking of how to steal money. We are thinking of how to marry more wives. We are thinking of how to buy more cars, build more houses, own more lands, because you are in office. In Europe today, you pay tax for all those things. So by the time you can see the country. In other Asia countries, in Dubai and the rest, you pay. So when they levy you in Saudi Arabia, you pay. You don't just own houses, own cars, those properties.
The more properties you have, the more money you pay.
So if you don't have any source of like in Africa today or Nigeria today, if you don't have a genuine source of income, you can't own those properties. But today come to Nigeria, somebody, because you are just a DG, within 1 or 2 years, you have land in Asokoro, you have in Gusape, you have everywhere, because you are a leader. Probably maybe you are a governor. Before you know, you want to see how you can remove your family completely from. And most of those things, mind you, they're told. Most of those things they acquire corruptly. Their children will come from nowhere. These are children you send to European country, you send to America, you send to Canada. That they have the mindset of that area. So when they come here, they will study those things. Now you have deprived the poor people. The school is supposed to build for them, the good roads, the education you're supposed to give them, the better welfare you're supposed to give them. You have denied them by stealing their money to acquire those things because of your children, because of your wife, because of your relative. Now, those relatives you have sent abroad, now will not come back tomorrow and be selling those things. I will be going to club and be buying one and they say 2 million, 3 million, because they don't know the value for what you have suffered for. So African and Nigerian today, the focus should be like, they should focus, not all this, you are inviting UN scribe, you are inviting, even if you like, you invite Trump will not come. Trump is telling you, now focus on your country. God have blessed you, you have resources in your continent. Look at DR Congo today. Do you know what they have? They have in abundance, both human and all that. But
the war is just not allowing all of that come to the surface.
They are the one instigating all these things. In Nigeria today, you can see that even the people, I don't want to mention some security, what they call it, they are giving ammunition to criminals. They are giving ammunition to people to attack your people just because of money. And look at them. They want to ride cars. They want to buy a good car. They want to build a house and buy chairs in their sitting room and dining table and have this kind be doing video. We are backward. So until we have people that are supposed to be in position of authority, not the one that they just, not the opportunist, the real one that they are prepared to be there, and you know the reason why you are there, and remove this acquiring wealth by all cost. Until then, I don't think we are going anywhere.
All right, you'll have to hold that thought, Ambassador. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll focus our conversation on the new leadership of the AU. Will it be the same story like we've always seen before? And of course, some of the challenges that we have, the crises, the fighting, and all of that, and also the health emergency situations. How do we find a path towards solving all of that? We'll be right back after this time out. To stay with us.
What makes the political system what it is today?
What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension.
The Nigerian masses have been battered.
The instability of the system.
Join Ellen 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt.
I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now on Ellen 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on Ellen 24/7.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. We are unpacking the AU Summit 2025 edition at Ethiopia. Ambassador Austin, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Now, let's move the conversation forward by focusing on the new leadership. Ali Yusuf, who's been a former minister in Djibouti. There's been this talk that he comes with a lot of experience, but do you think it will be anything different?
I don't like talk of experience because it can still, but not per se. I don't write experience because over time, since 2005, so for 15 years now, he has been the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yes, it depends on yes, at least 15 years is not a small year. Just that somebody senior you for 15 years or somebody have been studying for 15 years, I think you should be a better teacher or a better student. But beyond that, as I said earlier, what is the focus? Even if you like spend 30 years as a Minister of Foreign, what is going to bring if there is no united house? Our focus now is that we are discussing about the united house. That is the strength they should build. So within the African country on its own, they can do better by ensuring that the welfareism of their people is their priority. And probably we should do away with that expecting aids. Because whoever that give you aids is expecting something in return. Is it that it's giving you aid for it to make you more lazy, which they are doing? They give you aid. Chinese give you aid. Chinese will give you aid and they'll come up with some policy in Africa or in Nigeria that they will undermine your level of thinking, your level of productivities. They are going to undermine it. When they give you that aid is just probably for you not to be able to produce what they are giving you. So we should do away with that and sit down on the round table and strategize and say, okay, let's assume that what we have been doing before is not working the way we expect. Yes, it's not working. So what can we do better? What can we do now differently that achieve? Because for me, for a long time now, whatever they have been discussing, no particular result is being coming out from there.
Do you think that is as a result of the fact that diplomats are the ones that are actually chairing these organizations rather than actually having presidents or people who are presidents of nations to actually fill in the gaps of leadership? Because that could also be a problem.
Yeah, not really, because they are good they are good diplomats. Let me put it that way.
But is that enough?
Not really enough, but probably now, if you are my representative at the AU, and probably I'm not saying much. I get me now. Yes, the leaders, the presidents of those countries the leaders of various countries, but I'm sure they are still members of whatever committee that is there. It's just that the essence of the representative probably is to feed the organ that sent him that place back. But is that enough? No. What we should be thinking now, those diplomats, that's I'm telling you now, that most time when you are relying on aids and all that, probably to carry up your daily routine and all that, it will limit your thinking. It's just like I'm staying here now. I'm not paying NEPA bill. I'm not paying anything. I'm not buying food. The car is, everything is there. I would just only want to sleep. Wake up again, take coffee, But if I'm the one that's going to pay for light, and I'm using light, I'm going to pay for food, my children, my wife, my siblings or my family, let me say my household, I need to ensure that they are okay. I'm paying for school fees. I'm fueling my car. I'm doing everything. I won't want to be sleeping all the time. So we have slept too much because most of those diplomats are too comfortable. Now, Africa have slept too much. That is also the message.
And it seems like the sleep is still going to continue.
No. That's what I'm saying now. It's still going to continue because to me, I'm not seeing anything different for what they have been.
But to you, what will it take for Africa to actually wake up?
Well, that's what I'm saying now. The leadership problem, the first problem in Africa is the leadership problem. We have a lot of archaic leaders there that they cannot think anything. I just give you an example of Cameroon. We have in even that DR Congo, Angola. We have countries, I don't want to be mentioning them, that we have countries that forget it in Niger Republic.
But you would expect that at some point, when something is biting you and pinching you, it gets to a point whereby you just have to wake up to your responsibilities. That was why I asked, what will it take?
What is it?
Because Trump is not doing it.
What I'm saying is that the only thing it will take is that the leadership. Let me give you an example of the leader I'm saying now.
But you can't remove the leaders now.
No, I'm not saying removing them. You can see what happened in America. Everything had just been going normal when Biden was there. All this, it didn't come up. It's still there. Just last 2 months, it's there. All this refocusing they are talking about now, I was in all there 2 months ago. But just a month now, January 28th, Trump came in. Just less than a month, Trump came in now. Trump came in January 28th. We are still in less than February 28th. And Trump changed within 3 weeks. Put everybody to toast. 3 weeks. Now, that's what I'm saying, that a leader, we need an emerging leaders in Africa. That when they come in now, they say, no.
So
please.
you're saying Africa needs a Trump?
No. I mean, Africa needs Africa. Are you getting me now? To say this is what, Trump just came now. He said, we are tired of the World Health Organization. Please, we don't want to be part of it again. Please, you said, stop this. We need an African that will say, no, please. Oh, God, you are giving us aid. Please leave us. We want to focus on our country, on our continent. We have to, almost all the mineral resources that the world is using today. You are talking about copper. Are you talking about gold? We have everything in abundance. I say we have leader that will say, no, please, let's focus on this. How do we bring technology in?
Rather, we will have Chinese people coming to mine illegally.
They are illegally.
Like what we have in Nigeria.
In Nigeria now. So that's what I'm saying, that it's a leader issue. It's a leadership issue. Leadership issue is what is making Trump now to tell everybody. You can see yesterday now, 2 days ago, he told Israel and told Ukraine and
Russia.
Ukraine is feeling the heat now. So we can't continue like this. Just 3 weeks he came in now. So we need that kind of leaders at the AU that they will come and say, okay, it's like we have been sleeping too much. Let's just stop sleeping now. Let's give ourselves 6 months and see how we can address the African issue before you not take it outside the continent. Because if we have not addressed it, okay, look at ordinary Mali, Burkina Faso, and
the suspended countries.
You can see for 6 months, the ECOWAS was not able to resolve the issue within themselves. Is that kind of person that India will always come, China will always come, America will always come, Israel will always come, because you can't solve your own problem. You're talking about just a little blocks of ECOWAS. 3 presidents said, please, we don't want to be we're out of your membership. And within 6 months, set up different committee. They are not able to come up with a resolution to be able to settle them. Initially, they are saying, we're going to ban them, we are going to do this. Later, they subpedal. Before you know, today, we have a country whereby you don't even know what is the next to do. That is number one. Number two, until we address our own problem. Look at Rwanda today. You can't do anyhow you like. You have a president that has been there for 25 years, 24 to 25 years now. Has been a president. He will not live till he die. Who will take you serious? So the issue is a leadership problem here.
Now, I wanted us to talk about the impact of this USAID funds and grant, which the president's wife made mention of, that we need to do something. Now, we have, do you see us having anything like an African Union fund for some of these emergency cases and causes? Why? What do you think that African leaders can do to prepare for such situation?
We can have it, but the problem is corruption in Africa. Put a Nigerian man there, he will still be thinking about how to steal the money. Put a Ghanaian man there, he's how to. So that is what those that are giving us aid knows our area of weakness. They know that the problem here is that whatever they want to get here, they can get it by giving you aid and probably try to subdue you of thinking properly. The problem we have in Africa is corruption. The first problem we have is we have bad leaders, corrupt leaders. So whether you like it or not, that aids have become, how many, put any Nigerian man to oversee the African aid, he will steal the money to go and use it to build houses and buy cars, what he didn't need. That's the problem. The people that are giving you the aids, they are giving you, tell them, those NGO today headed by Nigeria, tell them to give you the account of what they collect. They can't tell you. Because the man wants to live large, he wants to do Thanksgiving in church, he wants to do Thanksgiving in mosques, he wants to show his people that he has arrived. Poverty have left their family. That's the problem. And until we face that reality, my brother, we are not going anywhere. Because we'll continue discussing. Put an African map. Just let's assume that today we have African aids. Put a Nigerian man to head it. The next Sunday, we'll just go and do Thanksgiving. Before you know, he start giving contracts of those to his people direct. How they come out of poverty, how they come out of hunger. Hunger that will continue with your children. You can't tell me today, after 65 years of independence in this, we are still looking up to 65 years. Refinery is not working. 65 years, we are still expecting it.
These are some of the key problems. Now, I wanted us to talk about China because I read a lengthy post where President Xi was congratulating the African Union on the successful completion of the summit and all of that. And, you know, it got historical at some points because some people were trying to see some kind of a form of, will I say, disrespect, so to speak, in the way the Chinese president, you know, talked about the African Union. Now, we're living in a world whereby, you know, Trump is trying to dissociate itself in terms of diplomatic relations with other countries. And then you have someone like President Xi, you know, who is so interested in Africa, wants to do things with Africa. Those things that China is doing for some of these African countries, do you see other African countries being able to play those roles rather than you have individual African countries tying themselves to China?
Yeah, see, just like the question is a direct question. And you can even answer this as well as a journalist.
Well, you are my guest.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
it has been that way. The question you ask me now, we are not.
How can we break away?
We are not. You see, it's not a united house. It's an individual house. They are just to say okay. Just to say
the AU is just nomenclature.
I'm telling you now that it's an African mentality thinking, just like Nigeria today now. If you put me there, immediately people just hear my name. This one, no. He's not our person. He's not my brother. He's not my sister. He's not. The same way Africa. So even when they are still claiming to be under one umbrella, everybody is still going to. I could remember there's a summit 2-3 years ago. They had during Buhari time. They had in China. That all the African leaders went to China to have an African summit in China. I think last 2023 or 2022, cared about one of the two. Buhari was still the president. Went to China and have an African summit, African discussion in China. Malema then was insulting them. He was chaired by South African Ramaphosa then. You are going to discuss an African issue. You left African soil. You went to China. What is the outcome? Nothing. As I'm telling you that Chinese today will be happy now. Chinese would never wanted you to have a united house because whatever aid they say they are giving you, they are taking it back in thousands. And that is why you see they are signing a diplomatic part with almost all the country all big country in Africa to ensure that they are into your construction, they are into your oil, they are into your minerals, they are into every transportation. The same way they are in Nigeria, they are in China, they are in Ghana, they are in South Africa, they are in almost everywhere. Those countries that have minerals, because that is their focus. So what they gave you to say we want to give you this, they are taking it back. So like him, yes, in Japan, he's very happy that at least this is, it's just like they are our colonies.
In other words, all the meetings and all the deliberations is going to favor him.
It's a waste.
That is just what it means.
Yes, because if you look at them today now, they are the main, why America is trying to differentiate themselves, he's congratulating us and say, I don't mind America. Wow.
So is China going to pay for the exit of USAID?
They can. You'll be surprised that tomorrow they will take over. What they are doing what they are doing? What they are doing in Africa. It's just that they are not just making noise like America now. They are doing a lot. Don't you see those schools and all that? Just across here. Is it not Korea? They build an hospital, partnership hospital there. They are building schools now. It's just that they don't have that power. But if you see their strength in Africa, you can't just, it can't be overemphasized. Their strength, they are building. Now they are building a very serious strength that in the next 10, 15, 20 years, you'll be surprised the kind of alliance they are building with this. You'll be surprised that they will take over. What is there? That is why I'm saying that part of our challenge in Africa as a whole is that we don't know the value of money. Today, if a Chinese man is to take a contract in your country, tell him to bring a proof of fund. The government of China, which is the People's Bank of China, which is like they know how to get their whatever they want anywhere. If you are doing a business with a Chinese in Nigeria today, and there's a request for proof of fund, their bank will give them a proof of fund that your bank will not be able to give you. Because they know the value of money that is only on paper. They are not coming with cash. These people now will take the contract, they will come with their shoemakers in their country, they will call it a technician or an engineer here. He'll be working here. They will bring their people. That was what they are trying to discuss at the budget defense last time, where the comrade Adam Oshomole was telling them that even when you go to in Kano, they are doing bakery. Because we don't know our value, we don't know what we want. We are not encouraging the indigenous contractors to do anything. Many people are not doing anything. If it's China or anybody, before you know, they will give them. Because they believe they have money. Which money? They still use your money here. Because you are paying them a counterpart funding here. They are showing you their money on the paper.
It's really quite sad, Honorable.
Very sad. So whether we like it or not, until we sit down, we have these leaders, we have emerging leader that actually they are not ready to say you want to steal. Leader that they are looking beyond now. They are looking at generation to come. It's not the number of houses you have. If you like, have 20 houses and don't train your children or send them abroad, send them to those European and English country, those Canada, America, they will come back, they will sell all your property you have here. So it's going to tell on me and you that it's not what would the best way to build your children is to build them here. Build that Nigeria in them. Let them school here. When they school here, they school with their colleagues, they will know what poverty look like.
Yeah.
To me today at my primary school, all my schools are federal schools. My primary, my secondary, my university, my polytechnic, my university, all I school here. I know poverty. At least my parents they tried it. We are not completely bad, but at least I school with people that there was nothing. I school with a friend. I have a friend that we school together. I have only two pairs of trousers, but probably maybe 2 t-shirts and 1 shirt. And in university, for 4 years, 5 years, we are there, nothing. So I have the experience. So if I come today, if I had the opportunity today, I understand. Or like someone that all day life is AC, there's light.
Yeah,
I've read with candle. I've read with phone, that torchlight phone. Then there was no even camera phone. I've read with torchlight phone that I will pull light probably just to I've gone to class around 1, 2, 3 a.m. So I've gone through this. So we need an African person on an African ideology. And
You know, in
are-
essence,
those are the
we're
ideology
looking
our-
at homegrown
our forefathers.
solutions.
Yes, because if you look at it,
Yeah.
today we are talking about free education. There's no way you mention free education today in Nigeria that you not mention Obafemi, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. There's no way you talk about development of African today, you don't talk about Kwame Nkrumah. There's no way you talk about African, you not talk about. There are people that you talk about them today because they see future then. They are not talking. We didn't meet many of them. We didn't meet many of them, but we heard about them. We heard about the strength they put to ensure that their people are out of this. So, and these are the thinking. That is my thinking.
Yeah.
These are the thinking we should be thinking about the generation that is coming. That we are not only
Ambassador,
thinking
our
about
time
ourselves,
is fast
but we are
spent.
talking about tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that is my prayer.
And
I pray that the next summit will be discussing about Africa.
More important topics.
Yes, you're not on just
Reparations or racial justice. God help us. Well, folks at home, that's much we can take. Once again, thank you so much, Ambassador Austin, for being with us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll have to draw the curtain, and nothing will work except Africans begin to do things themselves. The time and the era of aid is over, and it's time for us to collaborate. Well, we'll still keep touch with the happenings around the AU and, of course, in Nigeria right here. I want to thank you very much for staying tuned right here on Politics Now. Once again, my name is Morno Balagogo. Thanks for watching.